Hello everyone and welcome back. This is part 18 of the project and today we're gonna discuss about the colors. Okay, so as you can see, I have used the same technique we've seen before to build a new character. Okay, just the block out. And then I'm just gonna sculpt the head. What I wanted to do for this part is to have a zombie. Okay, the first thing I did when I started sculpting the head was to add the element that wouldn't move. So we did that last time. I added spheres for the eyes and I also added cylinders to act as the teeth or the jaw for our zombie, because of course usually what you see a lot in the zombies, if it's not its eyes, it is its teeth. Okay? And you can see also that when I merge all my objects for the head, I remove the nose because usually again, zombies don't have their nose and I didn't want mine to have one either. Okay? So now that those features are placed, I have started to sculpt my zombie's head. Okay? And the only difference between this sculpt and the last one for the head was that I tried to sculpt every feature whenever I used a remesh all at once so that they would all have the same kind of finish. And then I would do another remesh before sculpting them all again to add more details. Okay? So I use mask for the mouth, for the eyes as well. Okay? Always takes a lot of time, of course, as you know it by now, but that's part of the thing. And of course you'll get faster and faster as you train and as you improve. So, did the inside of the mouth, then added the teeth that I sculpted. Okay? And now I just wanted to move on to the colors. How will this work? There's a really important step that usually we would go through, which is called retopology, meaning we are building another object on top of our sculpt with a topology that is more usable in terms of texturing and also to have it fit to be animated later on. This step we are not gonna use it in this project. Of course, big warning, you shouldn't do that. I mean, do as I say, don't do as I do. This is, I think it's from the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think Man, the hero from this movie, was saying that to his daughters. Well, of course, it's better to do the retopology phase. I'm not doing it because we are not gonna do very complex animations, and we don't have enough time to go through the whole process. I might do that maybe for something else later on if you want me to. Just ask me in the comments so that I can see if you're interested or not. But then now, what we're gonna do is coloring our sculpt. There is something new. I think it started from Blender 3.2 at least. So if you're using this version or a more recent one, you will have these options. I showed that to you in the sculpting basics video, but now you can paint your sculpt. This is based on a technology that exists since a long time, which is called vertex painting. And as I will demonstrate it to you here with the plane, okay, what you could do, if you enter the vertex paint mode, you will see that I'm able here to colorize each vertex of this plane with a color. Okay? And there will be always a gradient between the colors of two vertices. What we can do now, it is made possible with the Sculpt, which has a resolution high enough, is that because we've got a lot of vertices, as you can see here, the transition of color between two of them will not be really noticeable, depending on the amount of detail we want. But that will be enough. So now I can start painting on my sculpt. Okay, like that. Okay, you remember there are two main tools. the paint tool and the smudge tool to smudge colors. Okay? And what you can do, if you add a material to our object, is to go in here, and you will have here something called color attributes with a name. If you add an input node called color attribute, you can get back these color informations that you can use in your shader editor. Okay? And this is great because you can use it in a lot of other ways. I'm gonna use another one here and paint it black and white. And remember from previous lessons, we can use a black and white color map as a mask. Okay? So if I choose two colors here and I use this in the mix inputs of my mix node, I can now use this to mix both these colors. And of course, I'm using colors now as an example, but we could use any other parameter from the shader. Okay? Like the roughness here, for example. So let's do that. I'm just gonna paint my entire head because it's a zombie. It's obvious that it will start with a kind of greenish color. And then, as you might know, usually the bottom of our head is a bit more bluish, if I'm not mistaken, and the top would be a bit yellowish, I think. Okay? So, I'm just colorizing my head, like that. You can mix a lot of colors. I'm just gonna work on the tongue now, which is gonna be some kind of reddish color. Okay? And of course, you can, with this technique, enhance the darker areas to make it look a bit nicer. Now I'm just moving on to the teeth. Okay? Just to give them a bit of something. And of course, as I said earlier, if you don't have enough definition, you will have this kind of result. The sphere, remember, we haven't touched it, so the mesh is not very dense, and we've got this kind of result. So I'm just gonna use a kind of gradient. It's a zombie, so it will be enough. That's a good excuse, of course. And I think now that my color informations are done, I can just now use the shader editor for each of these objects, of course. Now I'm just gonna work on the other parameters, which are the roughness and later on the subsurface, okay? And of course, add a bit of bump. You can see here the roughness. I can adjust it on my tongue so that some parts are just a bit more reflective than the others, okay? With a black and white mask. And now, of course, can do the same for each object, the eyes, the teeth, like that, okay? And I'm just gonna try to play a bit with the subsurface, okay? I can choose which parts of my model will have this subsurface parameter, so we'll kinda see through it a bit, okay? And I think now I'm just gonna show you the example of using this for a bump map. Okay, if I add those parameters, and if I paint some kind of mask here, or white mask, you will see it's only visible in rendered mode, unfortunately, but you can see here all the details from what I've painted. Of course, remember the fact that the model needs to be dense so that the transition between colors is nice, but can still allow you to add just a bit of details in some areas. Okay? I'm gonna add a noise texture to add some kind of little details to the skin, like that. And just adjusting a bit of the model now. And you can see now, this is my final zombie's head. The style of what I did, of course, is a bit cartoonish, so I can get away with having this kind of smooth colors. If you want something more realistic, you might need to either have a mesh which is more dense or use another technique, but that will require you to have, as I mentioned earlier, a retopo phase where you will redo the model with a nice topology, and with this you can use then a UVunwrap and then paint your own texture on top of that. Okay. So I hope you find it interesting and useful and that you're inspired by what you're seeing. I will see you next time. I think it's gonna be time for us to start with the animation. Take care everyone, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.